This investor sold a property, and instead of writing a six-figure check to the IRS for capital gains, he used a 1031 exchange to roll all of that money into two new investment properties in Wisconsin. The same investor, two properties, $3.5 million worth of real estate. Cash to close at both closings, zero. Now let me break the entire thing down for you. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another deal of the week. If you are new here, my name is Ricardo Carrillo. I run RC Lending Advisors. We're a nationwide mortgage lending company that helps clients all across the entire US secure financing for both residential and commercial deals. Whether you're buying your first home or whether you're scaling your real estate portfolio, my team and I will walk you through the entire process from A to Z. Now, the whole point of these videos is to show you real deals with real numbers, with real clients, and exactly how they're structured so you understand what is actually possible when you do this the right way. This one was a double 1031 exchange closing on two different investment properties that our client purchased in Wisconsin. And this is one of those deals that when you understand the actual strategy behind it, it completely will change the way that you think about selling real estate. Let's jump right into it. I cannot wait to talk to you guys about this deal. This investor was selling a property that he had owned for an extremely long time. It had already appreciated significantly. And the thing is that when you sell an investment property and you have profit gains like this, the IRS, of course, wants their cut, capital gains tax. Depending on your income bracket and how long you held the property, that tax could run anywhere from 15 to 20% federally, plus whatever the state wants to make, plus depreciation recapture if you had been writing that off over the years. And so on a property with significant gains, you could easily be looking at a six-figure check that you're writing to the IRS. Most sellers just end up paying it. They take their proceeds, they take the money, write a check, and they move on. Now, there's a massive amount of equity, if you're asking me, walking right out the door for absolutely no reason, other than the fact that they just didn't have the right team behind them. An investor who understands that there's a better path forward, instead of just selling and paying the tax, you could structure it as a 1031 exchange. Now, a 1031 exchange in plain English, what is it and how does it work? When you sell an investment property, you have a window of time to identify and close on another property, a replacement property of equal or greater value. Now, the proceeds from the sale cannot go to you directly. They have to go to a third-party company called a Qualified Intermediary, which is normally just a title office. They're the middle person or middle company who holds the money while you're looking for your next deal. And as long as you follow the rules and the timeline, the IRS allows for you to defer the capital gains tax pretty much indefinitely. The key word there is defer. You're not actually avoiding the tax forever, but you're kind of rolling it forward into a bigger asset, and you're letting that capital keep working for you. So you just stack this and keep doing rinse and repeat 1031 exchanges anytime you want to sell an investment property. Now, our client took it a step further because instead of doing a one-for-one exchange, he actually took this money and he put it into two different properties. This is why each one was purchased at $1.75 million, totaling $3.5 million. We did 20% down on each individual property instead of just buying one with 40% down when he didn't need to. And then we were actually able to lock in a 7.25 on a 30-year fixed for both loans. The part that is crazy that most people miss is because the proceeds from the original sale were enough to actually cover down payment and closing costs, the cash to close at closing was $0. Let that sit for a second because people talk about buying a house with no money down. This is really buying a house with no money down. This client walked into two separate closings, signed for $3.5 million worth of real estate, and didn't bring a check to either one. The funds covered all of it. And this is what it looks like when you treat real estate like a business. You use the tax code for what it's meant to be used for. And at the end of the day, you end up the one who's winning. There's a few things that I want you to understand about a 1031 exchange if you're considering one. The timelines are strict. You have 45 days from the day that you close on the sale to identify your replacement property. You have 180 days from the actual sale to then close on those new replacement properties. If you miss either of those windows, the exchange fails and you're going to owe the tax. This strategy requires a lot of planning and the right team behind you. You don't decide to do a 1031 exchange the day before closing. You decide before you've even put this property on the market for sale. Properties also have to be like kind, which can confuse people because it's a little bit broad, but investment properties have to go be sold and then purchase another investment property. Primary residence to primary, investment to investment. You could sell a commercial property and buy land. You could sell single family and buy a multifamily. That doesn't matter, like the type of property. occupancy is what would be the most important. So the IRS gives you flexibility, but they are strict on timing. And then, like we said, you also need to have a qualified intermediary, like a title office. They hold the money, and you have to make sure that we have that company picked out ahead of time. Now, of course, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a tax attorney, but I have worked closely with both of them. And I have the team who specializes in 1031 exchanges that we can refer to for, we've referred these clients to on a regular basis to these qualified intermediaries. So if you're sitting on a property, you're thinking about selling it, this is a conversation worth having before the property even hits the market. Here is the bigger principle behind a deal like this, though. When you sell an investment property the wrong way, you could lose 6 figures in taxes overnight. When you sell it the right way, that money goes back to work for you on a better deal. So this client who turned a single property sale into $3.5 million total worth of real estate without ever having to pay taxes on the gains is not luck. And it wasn't even a connection. It was just having a tax strategy, having the right team behind him to be able to go and execute on something like that. This is how scaling actually works. You're not chasing the next property. You're trying to protect your equity, not pay any taxes, defer those taxes, and put every single dollar back into the next asset that you're trying to purchase. Now, if you've got a property that you're thinking about selling, or you're trying to figure out how to get into your next investment without a giant check to the IRS, go to rclending.co, or you can find me on Instagram at Richie the Lender. My team and I can walk you through the entire financing side, and we'll connect you with the right people to handle the rest. I appreciate you guys watching, and if you haven't seen my other Deal of the Week videos, go check those out either here or here. Make sure that you like and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next Deal of the Week.